What's up you guys, my name's Alex Bradshaw and today we are going to be talking about the pros and cons of living in Federal Way. For those of you that don't already know me, my name's Alex, I'm a local realtor. I was born and raised here in Federal Way, and if you are looking to move into the Federal Way area, I am a realtor and would love to help you out. My number is 253-250-7520, and without further ado, let's get straight into this video. We're going to start off with the 5 pros that we have living here, and we're going to roll into the 4 cons. Let's do it. The first pro that I have for you guys living in Federal Way is the cost of living compared to everywhere else in Washington is actually pretty good. I mean, compared to up north or even in Seattle, the cost of living here in Federal Way really isn't as bad. And I'm talking about groceries, just cost of your everyday living, rent, all those types of things. You'll also realize that little amenities like going to the movies is just a tad bit cheaper here in Federal Way compared to going up north. Overall, it's just a little bit cheaper to live here in Federal Way. Pro number 2 of living in Federal Way is it is super diverse here. When it comes to the population living here in Federal Way, it's quite diverse. I mean, Federal Way High School, which is the main high school here, is actually the 3rd most diverse high school in the entire nation. There's different ethnicities and cultures everywhere, and it's super fun to learn about. Pro number 3 to living in Federal Way is the light rail is almost complete. And now if you're not from here, you probably don't know what that means, but there is a light rail. It's a super fast train station from all the way in South Federal Way up to North Linwood, which is like an hour away. So if you don't want to pay all that money for gas, or you don't even want to have a car, if you're living here in Federal Way, you can use that light rail to get up to work every day. Not only will you probably get there a little bit quicker, it'll be cheaper for your everyday living, and the houses around here will see some great appreciation from the light rail being built. Pro number 4 is we are close to the water and it's not a crazy amount to be there. There are homes that are maybe 5 minutes from the water that you can still get around the 500 to 600,000 range and even maybe under that 500 mark. We have Dash Point Beach, we have Redondo Beach, we have Dumas Bay Park. I mean, these are all great beaches that you can bring your family and enjoy while you're here. The last pro number 5 that I have for you guys is the amenities here in Federal Way are unbeatable. We have some of the best restaurants, we have Farmers Market, we have the Commons Mall here, we have the Aquatic Center, and tons of community centers that if you want to bring your kids to play around in, you can. We also have the Wild Waves theme park here, which is super fun. It's like $200 for a monthly subscription there, and you can bring your kids as many times as you want. So as far as things to do here that's not necessarily in the city, we have lots of options. And you're also only 30 minutes away from the city of Seattle. Now let's get into the cons of living here in Federal Way. Con number 1. We are very close to an airport. Now this might be a con for you guys, but it could be a pro for others. So if you like to travel a lot, we're maybe 15 minutes away from the Seattle airport here. However, the downside is there's always planes flying over our heads and we're always hearing planes, especially if you're close to that airport, maybe Purine area. Con number 2 is the crime rate. The crime rate is 27% higher here in Federal Way than it is in other locations in the world. Now, not all crimes are crazy. A lot of it is just theft or smaller crimes that are put into that crime altogether. However, it is a bit higher here in Federal Way. The closer you are to the freeway, the sketchier the area might be, but there are also lots of great places here in Federal Way. Now, con number 3 is that the education system here in Federal Way is not ranked very high. Now, compared to other parts of the world, it ranks great, but if you compare it to other parts of the state itself, it's not highly ranked. There are a lot of private schools and alternatives if you do want to send your kids there that are not far. However, the public school system here is ranked just slightly lower than the rest of the state. Con number 4 is that although we have tons of amenities, the mall here is kind of a ghost town. It has the CenturyLink Theater in there, which is really cool, but the rest of the mall is pretty dead. And if there's any crazy events that you really want to go to, they're probably up in Seattle. But your everyday things that you might want to enjoy with your kids or family, they are here. But some of the cooler events, you're gonna have to travel up north. So with that all being said, that concludes the pros and cons of living here in Federal Way. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and again, if you are thinking about moving here to Federal Way, I am a realtor and I would love to help you out. My number and email is down below at 253-250-7520, and I'd love to assist you in your move. If you have any questions, also feel free to reach out. Please subscribe, leave any comments, and have a good day, y'all. See you guys.